Well, the wait is over. I wanted to come on out like Yakoba comes out on his True Jerusalem commercial. Well, the wait is over. The wait is over. If y'all want to see prophecy in action, you don't have to wait much longer. You ain't got to wait no more. I'm giving Yakoba some ideas for true prophecy. Cause wow. Wow, just wow. Wow. Um, I hope y'all know I really don't like to go on lives like this. I really don't. But when it's something that's very, major, impactful, I'm gonna do my duty and get on these lives. So let me show you what's happening right now. I wish I wish that this was actually funny. I have that here. It's metro.co.uk. And this is coming today. So basically, within a couple hours, since it's the UK, they're about 4 hours away from a Jessica Kwong. Let me zoom in, get all the other kind of junk out the way. Trump threatens to unleash most powerful lethal weapons ever built if Iran is supplied nukes. You can't make this up. You can't make this up. Bear with me because you can't make this up. President Donald Trump has threatened to unleash the most powerful and lethal weapons ever built if Russia supplies nuclear warheads to Iran. Trump, 2 days after the U.S. carried out strikes on Iranian nuclear sites, aired a statement from Russia and a warning to the country. Give me a second while I read the statement. Give me a second. Did I hear former President Medvedev from Russia casually throwing around sorry, sorry, family, bear with me. This thing is so ignorant. It's not even funny. This is so ignorant. Did I hear former President Medvedev from Russia casually throwing around the N word? That's your president. Casually throwing around the N word. Then he puts in parentheses nuclear. Nuclear. You know what that dig was. You know what that dig was directed. And saying that he and other countries will supply nuclear warheads to Iran, Trump wrote on his Truth Social platform on Monday morning. Did he really say that, or is it just a figment of my imagination? If he did say that, and if confirmed, please let me know immediately. Okay. So, while all that bickering was going about, here's the real thing that was going on. This is from Press TV. Let me put Let me stop that. The moment Iran fired missiles at U.S.-run Al-Udeid base and Operation Tidings of Victory in response, it said Tidings of Victory, in response to U.S. attack on the country's nuclear facilities. These words, man, they're just throwing jabs at each other. So those are all the launches. Iran has clear expectations from Russia based on strategic partnership deal. That's another one. Head of the. That's not the ones I'm looking at. This is it. At least 6 missiles have been reported at 6 missile hits have been reported at Al-Udeid base and Qatar so far. Footage of an Iranian missile hitting the U.S. base in Qatar. Let me replay this. I want to replay this. Well, how come it's there and it's not in the middle of nowhere? If you've ever been to Qatar, Al-Udeid is not in the middle of anywhere. Al-Udeid is actually just right outside of Doha. Right outside of Doha. They're focusing in. They're all coming through. There hasn't been any interdictions. There hasn't. I don't see anything. So in terms of interceptions or things of that nature, not in that video. That's danger close. And then that's contact. And then you have more messages from Press TV. Iran SNSC says missile attack is not meant to hurt brotherly country of Qatar. The streets of Doha during Iran's missile strikes on U.S. base. Here we go. They're freaking out. They're freaking out. They're running. They're panicking. Understand, I'm going to give you a little bit of a breakdown about Qatar Airbase. Qatar. And it wasn't just Qatar. It looks like it was also Iraq. But it said it successfully intercepted the missiles. Okay. We just saw that it did not successfully intercept the missile. But if that's the lie that they want to go with, hey, I'm all right. Iran Armed Forces says hit American-run Al-Udeid base in response to U.S. aggression. Iranian statement says attack was response to U.S. attack on peaceful nuclear facilities. And it's showing these impacts. It's showing that let me show you this. Before I show you this, let me go ahead and read the description so you all know what's happening. The sky over Qatar during the Iranian missile attack on the U.S. Al-Udeid Airbase. Let me go to, all right, so you can see this. Those missiles are, that was the attack from earlier. That was the impact to show the impact. There are impacts going on. However they want to say it. Operation Herald of Victory. Iran pounds U.S. military based in Qatar in retaliatory operation. The moment Iranian missiles hit targets in U.S.-run Al-Udeid Airbase. Here we go. Those are impacts. You can see the flashes of the impact. So you have about 3 videos that just corroborated that not everything got interdicted. Here we go. That's Lucale Stadium where they played the World Cup. The Iranian was flying over. Lucale Stadium. I was actually in Lucale Stadium when they were building it up and they were getting it all refitted. It's actually pretty nice. Sorry, give me a second. Because I'm trying to go through. This is France 24. Let me give you this website. Well, I didn't know that that was actually where the World Cup was going to be at, because what ended up happening was they did a lot of like major, renovations to that. So then I realized that, oh, that was actually it, because they were still building it out. It was when I saw it, it looked nowhere near what that stadium looked like. It was definitely interesting. Definitely interesting. Let me see if I can find some of these pictures. I gotta go back. I gotta literally go back in time about 6 years ago. Years. Yeah, because the stadium looked nowhere near what the stadium looks like now. But it is Lucale. I even got some pictures being inside the stadium. It was a pretty nice stadium. And it obviously was all renovated for the World Cup. Let me see if. All right, let me get to this article real quick. Um, yeah, sorry, a lot of things are moving through very quickly. I'm on like three screens, split four in some cases. All right. No Iranian attack detected at any base other than Qatar, U.S. military official says. There was no Iranian attack detected at any U.S. military base other than in Qatar, a U.S. military official told Reuters on Monday. There was no impact on the U.S. Al-Udeid Airbase in Qatar, the official said. The military source told Reuters on Monday that air defense systems were activated. And I'm going to say more than likely that was probably a lie. That's probably a lie. And we won't actually see things until probably tomorrow. Saudi Arabia condemns unjustifiable Iran attack on Qatar, offers full support. Saudi Arabia lambasted Iran for its unjustifiable attack on a U.S. base, which was justified, but they say that. Offering to deploy all of its capabilities to support Doha, with whom it has had fraught relations in the past. Riyadh said it condemns and denounces in the strongest terms the aggression launched by Iran against the sisterly state of Qatar. This is unacceptable and unjustifiable under any circumstances. The kingdom affirms solidarity and full support for Qatar and offers all of its capabilities to support the sisterly state of Qatar in any measures it takes. Saudi Arabia Foreign Ministry said in a statement. The reason I'm laughing at that is because Saudi Arabia ain't got nothing. So what are they promising? We can give you Americans that we have here. and honestly, Saudi Arabia is actually more they lean more towards Iran than any other well besides UAE. They lean more towards Iran. Saudi Arabia said, "Well, we'll lend you something. Just we're better you to get blown up than us." And this is a lot simpler. It's a lot easier because let me tell you, Iran could go over to some of those islands on out there and literally shut down LNG, liquid natural gas production from Qatar. So a couple different things coming in. This is Bahrain. Sirens are sounding in Bahrain, and U- U.S. troops at air bases across Iraq have taken shelter following the Iran Iran's missile strike on Al-Udeid base in Qatar. So they're showing that they're showing the base. Looks like those are the front gates. He's brave. I would not even been sharing at that one. I thought I shared. Sorry about that. Here's some more video of missiles being going through. That looks like that's the air defense that's going up in there in Qatar. That is Doha.
الله أكبر تعال يا مدام
Let me.
الله أكبر تعال يا مدام.
Oh, these are going to be uploaded everywhere. I'm sure they had some complex attacks with drones and missiles. And if they hit, I'm going to tell you where they probably hit at. My man said, I'm out. I got to get inside. Danger close. I got to get inside. Yeah, this is a big deal for Qatar. Qatar is very neutral. This is a very big deal. So for Qatar, you'll see a lot more video. It's going to be a lot more video because they're a little bit freer of a Middle Eastern country, just to say the least. And those are the interceptors coming up. Those are the air defense coming up. And then I think a lot of these videos maybe some of them will be rehash.
الله أكبر تعال يا مدام.
The sky was being lit up. I don't care what you say, how you want to say it. That sky being lit up. It does something to you emotionally. It does. It does something to you emotionally. Qatari Foreign Ministry, air traffic temporarily suspended in the country's airspace to ensure the safety of citizens, residents, and visitors. I believe that Qatar probably got the word. So now understand these tit for tats. These things are now going to create more issues. Because now once America's drug in, and with, honestly, let's just face it, with the leadership that they have, it's not going to look good. Yeah, I think UAE is going to be okay. There's certain places, and you know what I'm talking about if you've been, and Abu Dhabi, Jebel Ali, certain places that you want to be staying away from. If Iran invades again Iraq and potentially Kuwait, because you have a big base there in Kuwait, yeah, that presents an issue. Now, understand this calculus is now everywhere. This is a really bad calculus. Now, people would say, well, why did they go after Qatar when Qatar was, basically evacuated? Well, I'm going to tell you why. The reason that they went after Qatar, even though Qatar was evacuated, is because you still have a lot of CENTCOM assets and headquarters there. You have SOC forward operating headquarters, at least when I was there. You still have CENTCOM forward headquarters, which is like literally 80% of the base. 80% of the base is actually U.S. forces. It's only a small fraction of the base that is that holds the Qatari Air Force Base. Very small. Very, very small. 80% is U.S. forces, and then they have a little barrier on the flight line, and they have a little fence and a gate, and it's like, oh yeah, there's Qatar stuff right there. Yeah, they're their planes. They're somewhere over there, somewhere yonder. They have one or two buildings. It's pretty funny. Travel warning for Americans. Yeah, because they're gonna retaliate. Excuse me. Wow, this is pretty bad. Let me get this right here. Yeah, I mean, I literally got off with you all about 4 hours ago, and I'm right back on it. I was glad I got some things done because I have a meeting here in about 3.5 hours, and yeah. And this is the very first attack, direct attack of, I would say, in this conflict. I just put this link out there in the chat. This is the Hill. Rubio warns of global oil disruption over Hormuz closure. Secretary of State on Sunday urged China to intervene to prevent Iran from closing the Strait of Hormuz. Please stop Iran for us. We can't. The question is, why are you asking Iran? Or excuse me, why are you asking China? Secretary of State Marco Rubio on Sunday urged China to intervene to prevent Iran from closing the Strait of Hormuz, which is one of the most important shipping routes for the world. Why are you asking them that? Should you have not thought about that before you struck? Do you all not know how to properly analyze the situation? Primary, secondary, tertiary. Do we not know? Well, of course you don't know when you're employing 22-year-olds for one of the most critical parts of homeland security. Interagency partnerships, an SDS level at 22 years old. Get out of here. You know what you know at 22 years old? I'm going to tell you what you know at 22 years old. Nothing. He went to college. He got a degree. And you still know nothing. Well, he liked Trump a lot, and Trump gave him the job. That was like the Idiocracy movie. That, to me, when I saw that, that was a scene from Idiocracy. Do you know about protecting the borders and any type of internal threats? Sure. Mountain Dew gives you electrolytes and it waters the plants because it's electrolytes. Cursed is a nation. Cursed is a nation. In an interview on Fox News Sunday Morning Futures, host Maria Bartiromo asked Rubio whether he expected Iran to close the Strait of Hormuz in an effort to disrupt oil transportation globally. I would encourage the Chinese government and Beijing to call them about that because they heavily depend on the Strait of Hormuz for their oil. Yeah, but no, they don't. Yeah, but not really. Man, they'll just get their oil pumped from Russia. They'll go right through the Caspian and in the Caspian, right up into Russia, and then Russia will pipe that sucker through their border that hits China. I mean, come on. Thank you, Glenn, for the super sticker. Hallelujah. I appreciate that. Thank you. Like, the geopolitical calculus is in question. Hey, we talk major smack about you, but can you talk to Iran for us? Because our mistake, yeah, the Europeans aren't going to be, they're not going to like us. Whose fault is that? Iran's going to be looking like, whose fault is that? I'm not getting in between this. You should have thought about that yourself. Guess that's what happens when you kick black folks and then and discourage black folks to be in government, discourage black folks as contractors, discourage black folks from being in high level positions that actually count. So, there's a dissenting voice of reason. Yeah, no, the president wants, he wants this. This is what he wants. Don't tell me, oh, senior White House official. Thanks, Truth Seekers. Thank you for clarifying that. Now, this is what he wants. Don't get it twisted. Trump wants this madness. He said, I'm doing it for you, BB. And then I can become King Trump, BB. Because it's so great. It's fabulous. It's great. I can be king of the world, BB. That's crazy. Oh. Why is Qatar trending? Qatar's trending because they done got attacked. Yeah, zero cat because there's nobody there on the base. It was a tit for tat. But this is the fuel that the U.S. is going to use. There's a statement from Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has condemned Iran's attacks on Qatar U.S. military base. The kingdom. So we did all that. Scenes above Qatar. We looked at all that. We saw them running through. I think that's the souk area. A lot of the places I wanted to get to there. Adam says here, Iran gave a 12 hours heads up before launching its missile attacks on U.S. bases stationed in Qatar. No casualties are expected. The strike involved 6 missiles aimed at symbolic targets without matching the scale of damage Iran suffered over the weekend. Yeah, it was a tit-for-tat play. It was a simple tit-for-tat play. We got to destroy something of yours. Well, that is definitely doctored. I mean, it provides Qatar to get back into the good graces of Saudi Arabia, because Qatar is just a peninsula right off of Saudi Arabia. It's the oven mitt. We used to call it the oven mitt right off of Saudi Arabia. So UAE closed their airspaces. So all of these places are within like 300-400 miles of each other. They're actually very, very relatively close to one another. So here's this. Qatar says they have the right to respond to Iran. We'll see how that goes. And it won't be Qatar responding to Iran. It'll actually be the U.S. And they said they violated, everybody's violating sovereignty. Have you seen that? Everybody's violating sovereignty. Oh, here we go. Yeah, because this is the souk. That is their mall. But, here we are. Okay. I want to share this. Let me start from the beginning. Oh, they're running now. You got everybody running. They're scared. It's not supposed to touch us. We just had the World Cup here. We just had the World Cup here. It's not supposed to touch us. So huge celebrations in the streets of Tehran. But it wasn't really all that big of a deal. To me, it wasn't all that big of a deal. See, there's a graphic. Let's just make the graphic here. So that is Qatar. That's an Al-Udeid Airbase. See, there's Doha. Doha is literally right there. And then Al-Udeid Airbase is literally like less than 10 miles from the city, like less than 10 miles. You can get downtown in less than an hour. It takes about 30-45 minutes. There's just a lot of traffic that's there. downtown Qatar. That's crazy. Qatar now too. Mm. So more footage of Iranian missiles being intercepted. Yeah, if anything, I would say that here. Yeah, if they give a 12-hour notice, heads up. Yeah, if they give them a 12-hour notice, heads up. Here we go. AF Post says Iran gave a 12-hour heads up before launching its missile attack on U.S. bases stationed in Qatar. No casualties are expected. The strike involved 6 missiles aimed at symbolic targets, signaling a response without any expectation of matching the scale of damage Iran suffered. So basically, yeah, it was a nothing burger. And Iran did this before in the past. And I believe Al Assad with Soleimani. But it's still, look, it's still real in the field. I mean, look, those folks are, she's in a full sprint right there. The full sprint hijab. Said, let me get to my car right now. Ministry of Interior affirms that the security situation in the country is stable and there is no cause for concern. Here's the memo. I'll read the memo. It's in English. In line with its responsibility to safeguard public security and ensure the safety of citizens and residents, the Ministry of Interior affirms that the security situation in the country remains stable and there is no cause for concern. The ministry stresses the importance of not giving in to rumors or circulating inaccurate information. It calls upon all members of the public to uphold their social responsibility by refraining from sharing or reposting any information not issued by official sources, verifying the accuracy of information, and relying exclusively on authorized official channels. The Ministry of Interior, in coordination with relevant authorities, remain fully prepared and vigilant to monitor developments and take all necessary measures to ensure the safety of citizens and residents and to maintain the normalcy of public life. Basically, don't panic, don't go crazy. That's from the bay in Qatar, all the yachts that are sitting up in there. So, yep, we're in a diplomatic crisis. Crises. And now they have really they have what they want to have established. in this tit for tat. So now they can ask for a declaration of war when, in my opinion, there was really nothing all that there. It wasn't really a there. Now, is this still big enough to report on? Absolutely. If it was a real strike, there'd be no notice. You didn't see that with the retaliation to Israel. They didn't give them notice. If it was a real strike, there'd be no notice, zero notice. And most of Qatar was already cleared out in terms of the base. Al-Udeid was cleared out, most of it. So again, now this allows the ball to be in the courts of the vassal states, the vassal countries of the West. Now let's take a look. Qatar is now involved, and Qatar is about to drag in Saudi Arabia. And UAE will then come running to Saudi Arabia. That's how that goes. Then you'll have Jordan, because Jordan has no choice. This was the Dragons of Arabia right here. So, yeah, it looks as though I don't believe that you'll probably see any casualties per se. I'm just gonna chop that up to a. It's not a nothing burger. No, it's not a nothing burger. But I'm gonna chop that up to. Could it have been worse? Oh yeah, absolutely. It could have been a whole lot worse. But their intent wasn't to be worse. Their intent was to actually say, look, we're trying to de-escalate. Now the ball's in your court. That was a de-escalation move. Just to let you know, that was a de-escalation move. Because they showed you what they can do. Especially in Israel? Come on. If that was a real strike, just my opinion, if that was a real strike, you've seen strikes worse. You've seen worse strikes over in Israel. I'm just saying. So, as I'm looking at this, to me, it was a de-escalation. You know, the funny thing is, I actually have a really important meeting coming up um, tonight It's really important. And it was funny because I was always getting kind of my Monday chores done, as I call it, sending out emails, following up with different things. Mondays are really my busiest days, besides Sundays. Yeah, yeah, Hebrew girl, because we know what it looks like. Just walked out of a patient's room here at the VA, and all the veterans standing around the TV. It reminded me of September 11th. Yeah, yeah, they're exploding midair because look, they probably sent over their low grade stuff. Send over the low grades. They probably didn't even have an explosive on it. I wouldn't. I would doubt that they even had some sort of an explosive on there. They were probably just there to as a show. Hey, look, we did something. Now let's get to the table. And maybe it takes Qatar to get them to the table. In my opinion, Qatar's a lot more influential than Iraq. Hey, Qatar, don't play the game. Let's get to the table and let's get this thing de-escalated. Or if you play the game, then guess what? Yeah, we're gonna go to World War. We're definitely in World War III. And I believe now everybody's gonna be playing the game. So yeah. Nah, look, I would say this in terms of Iran's response. You got to remember Iran is very calculating, right? They're going to try to see what the position is for the Europeaners. That's why, with the threat of the Strait of Hormuz, they're getting phone calls from the European folks. Please don't close the strait. And the Europeans are saying, you need to talk to US and Israel. Because to be quite honest, and here's how crazy this is. That's why I don't believe that this is, this we're not anywhere near this. It's a gradual buildup. So to be honest, it's kind of like it's the think that you're scared, right? Think that you're scared, think that you're hurt, think that you're, oh, I gotta pull back now. I gotta pull back a little bit because you gotta remember what do they do all the time? They think that they're confident all the time. Oh, our stuff is the best. Our stuff is this. It's the best. Okay, yep. Let's get closer and closer and closer. Remember, they're a hunter. Not everybody is Esau, but guess what? They still have the spirit of Esau. They're hunters. Oh, you're looking hurt? You're looking limp? I drew blood on you? They love what? The smell of blood. So now, with that blood, that smell of blood, now they're going to try to lure people on in there with them. Oh, the UK is with you all the way. France is going to be like, nah, I see this setup coming. I think the only ones that's smart about this is going to be France, Germany. Spain's like, I don't want to have anything to do with this. Spain and Italy have literally said, We don't want anything to do with this. Y'all lucky we're still in the they're saying they're lucky. Europe is lucky they're still in the European Union. Basically. They know where and how this thing is going to operate. So they're giving everybody enough time to stand down. But they're not going to get enough time because understand the US has to keep everybody jazzed up and chaotic. So watch. In less than 12 hours, Trump's going to respond. Watch. Because you have to now keep everybody jazzed up. You got to keep everybody chaotic. You have to keep everybody on their toes. Let me just take a look. Let's see what. Yeah, because the markets are reacting. They're like, yeah, it was just a little blip. No big deal. And yeah, okay, things fell. Wow. I'm looking at Yahoo Finance. They have the market watch. So yeah, so the markets. Yeah, the euro is definitely going to feel it a lot more just because they really don't have those traditional um, liquid natural gas, the LNGs, the petroleum, things of that nature. So I'm not really seeing that moving too much. But now with this, let me put this on in there. I know folks were talking about this earlier. This is from the Telegraph. Trump agitates for regime change to make Iran great again. U.S. President expresses MAGA inspirations for Tehran and urges the country to return to negotiations. But again, that was all before Iran struck a U.S. base. Now the U.S. has to strike, right? Because you can't look like you're weak. Can't look like you're weak. Do you see this cycle? This cycle is going to spin out of control. These are the curses of a nation. You want to come to the negotiating table when they're talking about regime change? You lost all credibility. Like, just stop. I don't know who is that even for? Come to the negotiating table. So what? As a black person here in America, I'm going to tell you this, Iran. Don't come to the negotiating table. Many of our ancestors here were told to come to a negotiation table, and we didn't leave alive. Ask us about how those riots started and the accusations. Ask us about how towns were literally burnt down. Ask us about false accusations of how we unalived ourselves with gunshot heads to the back. Ask us. How things would be stolen from us. How property would be stolen from us. I don't want you to have it. Why? Because I say so. I told you, white supremacy doesn't have to be rational. It doesn't. It's do as I say or else. And I think America's sniffed way too much of that Fenty. They may have had crack in the last administration. I think everybody's on that Fenty on this administration because they're just tweaking out. It makes no sense. Last thing you want is to go to a negotiation while they're nah, you put the gun down first. No, you put the gun down. No, you put the gun. Like, stupid. It's so stupid. It makes no sense. 1, 2, 3. Now your gun is still up, so is yours. I can't trust you. I can't trust you either. So stupid. Come on. Come on. Okay. 3, 2, 1. Oh, your gun's still up. Yes, man, yours is still up too. Now yours are, okay. 1, 2. It's like, stop. It's funny because you know how just stupid that is. Let me give you some advice from a black man here in America. Do not go to the negotiation table. You will not leave alive. Don't do it. You're only negotiating at your own peril. I'll put my gun down first when you put your gun down. Get out of here. I'll get my lick real quick and then we can talk. That's what I would be telling them. Nah, I don't negotiate with terrorists. Remember, that's your stance too. Are you gonna get mad that you don't turn into the terrorist? You gonna get mad? Oh, it don't feel good, does it? That's the quickest way to injure the ego of white supremacy. You turn their games back on them. Oh, white supremacy is That's the powder keg. Turn their games back on them and then get the rest of the world to see, oh, look what you're doing. That's not, no. They start turning the little kids. No, no. Stop staring at me and laughing at me. We laugh, but that's the bully that we've been dealing with for since 1619. And I'm laughing because we saw this. We called this. Actually, we called this. I wrote a book about this. He said the president of Iran just resigned. Obadiah saying that. I want to give me a second. I'm going to find that. Because that's a big one. I don't know. I didn't think that Peteshian person, I didn't really think he had the heart for all that. So I really wouldn't doubt it. I'm trying to see if the president of Iran had really resigned. A lot of this stuff that's going on here is very, very, very fake news. A lot of bots that you have in here. A lot of misinformation. I'm over here at Press TV, and I'd rather look at Press TV. And that really just reinforces that the only thing Iran really cares about attacking right now so far is Israel. And maybe because maybe they just realize maybe America just isn't worth it to them. Now, Iran is still, you got to understand about Iranians. They're not going to strike just yet. They're still waiting on a buildup of China and Russia. They are still waiting on the buildup of China and Russia. And understandably, they're very diplomatic people. They're a bore, right? They're a bore. They actually like to hide more than actually confront things. That's why when I read earlier, Second Esdras, chapter 15, understand the spirit of a boar. The boar will only strike if the boar is backed in the corner. But boars, when they hear you, they run. They're not trying to deal with you. They're not trying to deal with nonsense or mess. They want to they try to avoid confrontations. The boards here where I'm at in Florida, guess what? When I'm walking, I was about to walk with my dog before it starts raining because it rains at like 4 o'clock every single day here in Florida. We're now in that rainy season. Those boards will just dash and they move. They hear Ray and I coming, my dog, and they're running. But you can see where they slosh about in the loose earth, the loose ground, and because they make their little mud and they're in the mud to cool themselves down. They're all there in that wilderness. I'm not so much afraid of the snakes or things of that nature. I'm actually more afraid of the boar when they are forced to come out of the woods because a lot of the woods are very low lying and they swamp up. So boars are on ground. They like ground. And a lot of the developed areas are on higher ground. So around here, August, September, they'll even call it boar season because the ground becomes so wet in these areas that they'll actually will start coming up into yards and things of that nature. Oh yeah, this is going to be a very J Zero is going to be a very big misdirection campaign. That's just how that goes. But I wanted to just reiterate that look, even though it may not have really turned out as a nothing burger just yet, remember this is a different administration. You're in a yes man administration than you had in 2020. The question is that as we get far and as we go farther into this, when are they going to release the next biological attack? Or did they already release the biological attack and we're just like, forget it? Everybody's getting sick. Yeah. Yes, it's there. We covered that one. But they should have known all about that in their calculus, right? They got the best and the smartest and the brightest and the bestest people in the world, and yet Rubio had to ask, well, can China please talk to them about the Strait of Hormuz, please? Because they know what U.S. would have to do. The U.S. would have to pony up and ante up their resources. That's why the U.S. is what the U.S. is. You know what time it is. Oh, y'all messed up. Well, we're not going to do anything about it. Why did we create you? What is your mission in life, United States? If you didn't know, think about the United States as Frankenstein's monster. Frankenstein's monster was real strong, right? But we're locked up in here. The woman's locked up in here. For real, the woman is locked up in here, giving birth to a nation, Yasharel, locked up with Frankenstein's monster for real. What does Frankenstein's monster consist of? A whole bunch of nations put together. Do y'all see that? Everything to do what? To subdue the woman. Yasharel, Judah. We're literally locked up with the monster. Y'all didn't realize that the monster was created by what? The Pope and his friends, these other nations. Yeah, don't get that twisted. Don't get it twisted. You'll see the red dress. Well, oh, I know. I wouldn't. I wouldn't. I wouldn't have. Team Truth says talk about time, and you wouldn't be having these breaking news lives if you were teaching students. No, I wouldn't, and that's the reason why I say this was going to pop off in a time, and it was popped off. It literally popped off the summertime, a week before summer, mind you. People are out of school for about a week, because California, their schools get out real late. I don't know. I think Tammuz was one of them was killed by a boar for hunting. Let me Google that. Yes, according to Mesopotamian mythology, this is from Gemini. The god Tammuz was killed by a wild boar. The myth is closely tied to the changing of the seasons. Changing of the seasons, war against Iran. Oh boy. Charles West, you want it right now. Wow, oh wow. Let me share that screen so you all can see this. And this was from Bible Training, Bible Biblical Training.org. I'll put that in the chat for you all so you all can have something to mull over. I like to at least, give you a little bit of things. Tammuz, a fertility god worshipped in Mesopotamia and equivalent to Osiris in Egypt and Adonis of the Greeks. His consort was the goddess Ishtar, Astarte, Astaroth. Their cult involved licentious rites. Basically, they were all sorts of lewd whoremongers doing all sorts of freaky stuff. Tammuz was supposed to have been killed by a wild boar while shepherding his flocks. His wife rescued him from the underworld. His death was taken to represent the onset of winter. The long dry season was broken by spring rains when he came to life again. The fourth month of the Babylonian and later Jewish calendar was named for him June, July. Woo! Come on. When did we start? When did this start? Jacoba's going to have to do a teaching on this one. The only mention of him in the Bible occurs in connection while the custom of women mourning for him, Ezekiel chapter 8, which being observed at the very gate of the temple of true Elohim, seemed to the prophet one of the most abominable idolatries. His Greek name, Adonis, is derived from the word, from the Phoenician and Hebrew word for Lord. So when you say Lord, you're actually saying Tammuz. Brother Hates says, killed by McRib. Yep. I wouldn't eat that stuff, but I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. This is very interesting. June, July. Let me blow that up so you all can see this. The long dry season was broken by spring rains when he came to life again. So Tammuz is coming to life again. The 4th month of the Babylonian and later Jewish, which I would still say Babylonian, Khazarian, that admixture, was named for him June, July. Wow. They're trying to get their lick on the boar. Second Esdras. Wow, this all kind of makes sense now. That's why I said, look, Second Esdras 15. If you really don't know what's going on, better Second Esdras 15. Oh, if you really don't know what's going on, you better talk to Jacob and tell you. I don't like talking to the prophets because the prophets never have anything good to say about me. What was that? Was that Ahab or just? It was Josiah and what's his face? Oh, he said, "Mark my words, you will not come back from battle." That dude died in prison too. I don't like speaking to. Is there not a prophet found in Israel that can, or in Judah? Him say bad words. Him I don't like. Him not be saying no nice things about me. Yeah, you got to celebrate. You got to celebrate Tammuz at this time, June, July, summer break, Tammuz break. Oh yeah, I know. Brother Ron did a series on that a couple years ago. He just got through putting all the camps on blast. I'm telling y'all better know that trap. That I told you that camp stuff was a trap. I said that a while ago. I said that on this channel a while ago. COINTELPRO at its finest. Let's see who these crazy Hebrews are, and let's track them down. Easy peasy. That was always a trap. That was always a setup, unfortunately. So we'll see. Yeah. Yep. From the day the Western Empire put a shackle on the first Israelite, it was set for terminal decline. Well, I look at it like this. Are we in the last days? Yes. Yes, we're in the last days. We're in the last days of our captivity. We're in the last days of our captivity. Speaking of that, I got to do some things in the background because of us being in the last days of our captivity. I got things I got to do. So, yes, as a person that is on that Tammuz calendar, that Tammuz schedule, with schools being out, my teaching now is during this time frame. I try to teach you all just a little something different to get you all prepared and to analyze things so you're not going crazy. You don't have to go crazy. Yes, did Iran strike the United States? Yeah, they sure did. Was it to really immobilize the United States? No, not really. It was just a gesture, honestly, for the people of Iran that they struck the United States. I don't even think they literally had like a warhead. So, just give them the bad stuff. I really do think, and the reason I say the calculus um, is Israel, is that Eastern Mediterranean nation, is because think about this. How do you get to the heart of the United States? Through religion. And you actually get to the heart of the United States not through religion. Actually, it is in a very interesting way. You get to the heart of the United States when you have disrupted their religious understanding. Because remember, this is a generation that has been all in. Now, not just money, Brother Michael. This is a generation that's been all in with that Eastern Mediterranean nation that has the star of Molech and Raphan. They go after them. They get them to leave, to flee, to not come back. What do you think happens here to the United States? In my opinion, I think the United States will crumble. Because then it's, well, what have we been told? As you're reading Jeremiah 51, I think the greatest issue that you have of the people being thrust through and slain is that everybody turns on one another. They leave literally, then they have to ask, well, what was then white supremacy based on? Everyone and everything will be like, this is crazy. They're gonna be looking like what was it, Michael Douglas and Falling Down. They're just gonna take to the streets and just start murking each other. I believe, to me, that's that point. Well, I love you, God. Whose God was he talking about when Trump said that? Wasn't the God of the Bible? Wasn't the Elohim of the Bible? So now understand how everything is gone up. Their sins have gone up to heaven. He's trying to make his declaration to the God of this world, not the God of the Bible. We do not serve the same Elohims. My Elohim's name is Yahuwah. Their Elohim's name is literally Babylon, sprinkled in with Raphan, Molech, Tammuz, Dagon, whatever gods you name it. Because it's all Baal worship. It's the Baals. That's right, Ephraim ben Yasharallah. So now you're going to see the Baal system getting destroyed. Y'all didn't know that even Islam is under the Baal system. All 360 gods in the Kaaba with the moon crescent over it. Now, with this attack, I would not be surprised that Russia sends in some planes. If Russia sends in planes, then you know it's going to get bad. When? What? Not if, when. If I was really involved in this, I would really be monitoring Flight 24 radar to see what planes Russia is sending. I think it's like Volgograd or something like that, Airbase. It's towards the Caspian over by Kazakhstan. Zoomer he's already on Flight 24. Yeah, I would be on Flight 24. Yes, I would. Flight 24, and literally I'd be checking AIS to see what ships are about to get interdicted. What ships just suddenly stop moving? What ships suddenly? Why is that just parked right there? You have a Strait of Hormuz traffic jam, boat traffic jam, tanker traffic jam. Oh my goodness. But yeah, that's it, fam. That's all I have today. If I do come on and something happens, and it's gonna have to be after 8 p.m. after my meeting. Because I don't know. I told you everything's in a cycle now. 24, 48, 48. Yeah, I guess the urban apologists don't want any smoke because they realize that they could be the first ones. The first ones the Most High comes after. they 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 can be the first ones that, you know, the Most High put them on the list. It ain't real fun when now you got sleeper cell agents. Sleeper cell agents. So, yep, but that's it. I got to get going. It's almost 4 o'clock here. And I got to run some errands before I get ran on because it shines real bright. So, yeah, again, thank you all for your support of this channel, your super chat, super stickers. I appreciate it. Thank you all for your support. Those that are supported via PayPal or Zelle or Cash App, $ Covenant Awakenings 1. I am off for this summer. As of now, Most High willing that as doors open, then things start moving. And when these doors open, my broadcast may be a little bit more sporadic because I plan on doing a lot more broadcasting over on the continent with different things going on. But the Most High is awesome. He really is. He is working and moving on behalf of his people. Don't get that twisted. Don't get it twisted. The Most High is making major moves on behalf of his people. So we just have to tarry for a little bit. We have to tarry for a little while. And guess what? You want to know what the awesome thing is? Do you know that our brothers and sisters on the continent, they see this too? And they're asking about us too? And they're trying to check for us too? Isn't that amazing that you have our family over on the continent being worried about us? But as Jacoba says, ain't no 400-year prophecy, though. Ain't no such thing as a 400-year prophecy. I'm telling you. Urban apologists. I've missed you all. Where are you at? I've missed you all. You all have been silent for like over a year. They're in their bug outs. They're working on their compounds. They're really trying to examine Joel chapter 3 and Obadiah and Jeremiah 50 and 51. They're really trying to figure this on out. But here's the thing. They better figure it out before it's too late. All right, family, y'all have a blessed one. I got to get up on out of here. Again, it looks as though there has not been any casualties. It looks as though that's kind of I would say a dummy strike for the most part that occurred. So, but what does that do for U.S. policy and things of that nature? Well, my question is, when will the U.S. retaliate? That's now the question. Retaliations upon retaliations upon retaliations. So, with that said, Most High willing, I'll be back on tomorrow morning. If I have to go on a third time, then something's wrong. Something is wrong. All right. So with that said, family, y'all have a blessed one. Shalom.